Good evening, this is Guadalajara Reporter, the best English language news station. Tonight we have an interview with a philosophy professor at the local university, and he has a background in social contract theory and will be sharing this theory as well as his views as a social contract theorist. This is in response to a change in Guadalajara city law that now allows sexual relations in public view unless there's a public complaint. Good evening, Professor. Would you mind first explaining what social contract theory is? Of course, and thank you for having me on. Social contract theory is the idea that a society exists because of an implicitly agreed to set of standards that provide moral and political rules of behavior. Thomas Hobbes, the father of social contract theory, because he popularized it, thought that morality should help solve the problem when dealing with self-interested humans. Everyone wants to live as best as possible, but no one can grow without a peaceful, cooperative societal order. This type of order comes with rules that are considered moral rules because they allow us to gain the benefits of living socially. So the purpose of this theory is to save us from a chaotic society with no rules and allow us to benefit from living together? Yes, in a sense, what you're describing is the state of nature, which is a hypothetical situation in which no norm enforcing institution exists, i.e. no police, no government. I feel like some people would gravitate towards it because of their disdain for government/laws limiting their personal freedoms. Well, you see, people like the idea of state of nature until they live in it. The state of nature would create competition for everyone where we would compete for already scarce resources and our livelihood. No one has what it takes to win the competition because even the strongest and smartest people can be beaten by a mob of people. Everyone will be likely trying to stockpile resources and defend themselves. In this state, we will be free at first, but eventually lose most of our resources and freedoms. The point of social contract is to limit a few of our freedoms, but ultimately have more freedom than the state of nature. So what does this theory think of always helping each other no matter what? So altruism, or the selfless devotion of helping others, is not completely loved by social contract theory because it believes in the idea that altruism is always possible, but it's always supererogatory. This idea is called limited altruism. What do you mean supererogatory? I'll give you an example. This theory believes in that sacrificing your life to save someone else's is considered supererogatory, meaning beyond the normal call of duty and heroic in nature, but not required at all. It's not required because if we commit a sacrifice this great, it defeats the purpose of the theory and makes it no better than being trapped in the state of nature. Okay, that was a great background in social contract theory. Now let's move on to the law change in Guadalajara. What do you think of it? First, let me start off by saying that the rules are justified by asking if they're necessary for our benefit. Moral rules, like the illegalization of prostitution and adult sibling incest, are technically outside the scope of this theory if they are done in private, because they most likely don't harm people in the public. But once performed in the public, they are not condoned by this theory. Social contract theory underscores the importance of social norms and agreements as essential elements for the stability and functioning of society. Allowing sex in public refutes social norms regarding public behavior and decency. It challenges individuals' implicit agreements to uphold order and respect in shared spaces. By permitting such behavior, societal norms are torn, potentially diminishing trust and cohesion between community members. Okay, what about the cultural norms in the city and in Mexico? Point. Cultural relativism is not judging a culture to our own standards of right or wrong, strange or normal. However, we already know that Guadalajara is very conservative, and this goes against its norms inherently. I can't speak for the rest of Mexico, though, based on its diversity of thought. While we acknowledge the importance of individual freedoms within a society, the theory also emphasizes balancing them with maintaining social order and harmony. Allowing sex in public spaces infringes on the rights and comfort of individuals who have not consented to witness such intimate acts. This theory highlights mutual consent and agreement among individuals as a foundation forming the society. Allowing sex in public spaces challenges, again, the general consent and agreement of the community members because these behaviors require explicit consent and agreement from all parties involved. Allowing such intimate acts in public spaces disregards the rights and preferences of those who have not consented to participate or watch such activities. It introduces an element of discomfort in public spaces, undermining the assumption that these public spaces are where individuals can expect to feel safe and respected. Are there any criticisms to this theory? Can you think of any? Unfortunately, yes. There is no point in which a certain group gathers and mutually agrees on a contract that binds every participant, so it is implicit in nature. Another criticism is a complete disregard for beings that can be considered, as some philosophers call it, non-rational, like animals, people suffering from mental illnesses, and children. How can it be said that they would have rationally agreed on the social contract if they lacked any capacity to do so? But in this case, animals are not a part of it. And for children and those who are mentally handicapped, I believe that by opposing this change in law, we are protecting those who cannot consent. Children should learn about sex at an age-appropriate age and in a safe location from an educated adult or a health professional. I see. Well, thank you. We are out of time, but thank you for your insight and your opinion on this law change. Have a good night. Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me, and you too. Have a good night too.